It's Archie Slaymaker for International Box News. I'm joined by Jamie Conlan today. Jamie, how are you today?
All good, mate. All good, Arch. How's things?
Yeah, all good, thank you. We're going to jump straight into it and obviously go with the show on December 10th for Conlan Boxing presenting Michael Conlan versus Karim Guerfi. I'm just going to get your opinion on that fight as a whole.
Listen, it's a fate that kind of fell on our lap after one or two others kind of just didn't materialize. Megal, with the timeline we're working on with Top Rank, most likely we're aiming for St. Patrick's Day for a world title fight. So we needed a fight before that, December coming up. Fitted perfectly in the timelines of ourselves, of Top Rank, of Megal. And we kind of, the only date we had was December 10th with the SSC. We were looking at different dates in December. So Karim Guerfi, I think, and both Karim Guerfi and Megal coming off fight of the year contenders in the summer fit naturally together. Both bounce back with wins after their losses in fight of the year contenders, and are both on hunts for world titles, our big titles. So why not? Let's throw them in together. I think it's set for a good fight. Cream will come forward, throws plenty of punches. Mike will come box, but he also can stand and mix it in the pocket, and that's kind of what sets it up for a real intriguing fight and a real crossroads fight. The winner will move on, hopefully, for world titles, and the loser will, have to revise their career a bit because it'll be back to back big losses after tough defeats in the summer.
I know you said obviously it wasn't obviously the first choice opponent. What was there any other options as well as Karim Guerfi at all?
Now we looked at various different names. European, we looked at a few different names. It just never materialized. I think I spoke to Frank Smith about Jordan Gill, and then they were doing Jordan Gill and Kiko Martinez. I spoke about Kiko Martinez, and at the same time found out that they were doing Jordan Gill. So I kind of ruled out them two. I thought with Mega and Lee Woods' fight, Jordan Gill being his best mate, it would make a natural kind of storyline, but it just didn't work out. Cream then came in third nicely behind that because of his performance against Jordan Gill, and Harry was actually winning the fight until getting knocked out, same as Michael. So both guys have come through the exact same situation in the summer, winning a fight and winning a fantastic fight, and then just out of nowhere, out of the blue, knockouts. So it's good. It sets it up for who's learned the most here from their defeats in the summer, and who can rectify it and put it into a win in December.
That's perfect. Obviously, we're going to touch on Michael Conlan's deal with Top Rank. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is the fight with Karim Guerfi the last fight on the deal?
No. He's still got a few fights left.
Oh, perfect. There's been loads of speculation. Obviously, he always seems like he always just has one fight left. But obviously, do you know
I've
how
seen
many?
it. I've seen stuff online stating that he's at the end of his contract and stuff like that. But yeah, he's isn't it? It's coming to an end, yeah. But no, it's not. It's not yet.
Do you know how many fights are left on the contract at all?
You do, yeah.
Are you allowed to say at all?
No.
that's that's no. So we're going to talk about the undercard now. I'm going to talk about Paddy McCrory to start off with, following his
Yeah.
huge win against Leon Bunn, claiming the title over there. Is he still going to be fighting on the December the 10th card?
We're waiting on confirmation at the minute with Wasserman because Wasserman have an option with him, so everyone wants him on the card, Wasserman included. So we're just kind of confirming and cleaning things up there and how we get it done. If it's going to be a defensive of the IBO World Title, or if it's going to be a 10 round kind of keep busy, because it is only 5-6 weeks after his win. So we were initially looking at February, March time for Paddy's first defence in Belfast on Channel 5 with Wasserman. But we're hopefully getting this over the line. I think it's a no-brainer. Paddy coming back. It's a fantastic homecoming opportunity for him. The iron is really hot with him right now. Terrestrial TV in Ireland with TG Carr was a big bonus for him. He got fantastic exposure from the fight, going away from home, being in the Lions' Den in the opponent's backyard, undefeated, 19-0, Leon Bunn. We were brought there to lose. It was like they didn't know how good or how hard Paddy hit. Bringing him up from middle light heavy, they thought he wouldn't carry the power with him, but he's massive. Everyone he gets in the ring with states how big of a puncher is. It's a testament to him. Harry's kind of perfected it over the years because he wasn't always the biggest puncher as in the amateurs and so on and so forth. And he's just kind of, worked on that. He's unorthodox. He doesn't punch from natural angles, and it just comes from, comes from anywhere. And it's an exciting ride, an exciting journey, but it's a real rewarding journey. You feel great kind of after a fight with Paddy McCrory, just because of the simple fact that he's very humble. He understands the game, understands his position, understood his position coming through, having to sell tickets and kind of prove his worth very early in his career. And you hear about fighters getting opportunities, and everyone kind of gets the same kind of opportunities to an extent. Paddy took every opportunity with both hands and has just run with it. And I think he deserves the right December 10th to give the Belfast public who didn't get a chance to go over and see him a chance to kind of applaud him and give him a greater reception in Belfast.
I was gonna say, because the following he actually took over was still phenomenal. Like, you saw all the videos what Wasserman Boxing posted of they're all dancing in the crowd. I heard you say I watched one of Indies Valley. It's like a cult following, and it's a feel good story for Paddy McCrory, and I think the homecoming would be perfect for him. Another fight that is on the card. We briefly touched on it before we started, but it's Liam Taylor versus Tyrone McKenna. I think that fight just sells itself. Obviously, I know you did say you were looking back at footage of Tyrone McKenna and Chris Jenkins just before. If you could just briefly touch on that and say, obviously, about that fight, and you had to pick up the promo.
Yeah. No, Liam, the way it happened was strange. McKenna, we were actually looking at, we spoke to Morris Hooker, we spoke to Ray Beltran, we spoke to Josecito Lopez, a few different people in Mexico. This is my issue with Tyrone, is that he wants the hardest, toughest, most exciting fight out there. And they're hard to get sometimes. It was very hard to see. No one was really, it didn't really make sense for a lot of the guys who we were speaking to. One or two of the younger Mexicans were interested in it, but they didn't have the same name recognition as the more established names that we were originally looking at. And then just by chance, Tom Stalker. I was talking to Tom Stalker, and he was saying about Liam Taylor just won the WWE European title the night before, and I looked at the fight with Martin Harkin and just went, yeah, it's a fire fight. I seen live Liam Taylor against Darren Tetley, and it was, I say it was one of the best fights I watched live. It was fantastic. Both lads left it all on the line. Body shots really done Taylor, and he came back. He was really, really good. He tucks up well and fires back well. He's same as Tyrone McKenna. Fights all hurt, very little defense, and they just come firing on all cylinders. Can be hurt and is vulnerable. And when I said to Tyrone, I kind of said, just look at Liam Taylor. Tyrone turned it down straight away because of it wasn't a big, exciting name, which is insane. And just as saying, W European, maybe we'll get another title attached to it. Let's look at this. But when he watched him, he was at the same thing as me. This is a fire fight. It is when I'm watching both of them, as I said, I watched Tyrone McKenna as I was getting the promo off ESPN and sat for 30 minutes and watched him and Jenkins just going back and forth. I watched it live, I watched it after, and then had it again set just tonight and spent 30 minutes watching it. Tyrone McKenna is one of these fighters that just, he's a throwback, man. He's just, he is chaos. He doesn't disregard for defense, is insane, and he just throws relentlessly. He wasn't 100% against Jenkins. I know that for a fact. He didn't really get the full camp experience. He didn't put it all in. He was missing a lot of weeks, going back and forth and staying at home and not giving the full training to Dublin and staying down with Pete Taylor. But he's learned from it. I think it was the first time I've ever seen him tired. Up at welterweight, I thought he would be a lot fresher because he's not having to cut that weight. He's big, he's tall, and has to kind of get down to 140 usually. Fighting the 147 would have suited him. So it makes for, this one has the appetite, as you said, sells itself. Both lads are going to meet each other in the centre of the ring and non-stop punch.
I do agree. I can't actually see that being a boring fight at all. Another fighter I do want to quickly touch on. I'm pretty sure it was your first signing, Kurt Walker.
Yeah,
is on the card as well. Is there any news on an opponent at all?
we're still floating around, still getting one or two options at the minute from matchmakers and agents around Europe. Hard to get a match in UK and Ireland, so we're looking at further afield. But it'll be a 6th round. I think this will be his last 6th round before moving up to 8th, starting next year. He is 27. He's experienced a lot in the amateur code, Olympian, World Championships, Commonwealth Games medalist. He can do a lot. And I think what we've learned with Kurt is that matching him with journeyman doesn't really work, because he doesn't feel that pressure or need to kind of get up for the fight. Matching him a bit tougher, he performs a lot better.
That's perfect. Obviously, I'm just going to touch back on Michael as well. Obviously, providing he does get through Karim Guerfi, which is in no way an easy fight, but I will say he is expected to win the fight. I know you did say the next fight you're looking at for a world title on St. Patrick's Day next year. There's been obviously Lee Wood is always going to be mentioned, Josh Warrington, but one fight that did strike out to me, I know you did say you were trying to look at this, is Kiko Martinez. Would that be an option?
I think Kiko and Mick is a fantastic selling fight here commercially. Kiko, I think, is what every fighter should aspire to be in terms of how their bounce back ability, their ability to continuously reinvent themselves as a fighter and keep going. Kiko Martinez, when he fought Carl Frampton, myself, Frampton, the rest of the guys on the card were all young guys. When he beat him, we're all retired, feet up, watching TV with a cup of tea in our hand. Kiko Martinez still pounding the streets at 6 in the morning, still pounding the pavements, still got that desire to keep going and still winning European titles. He's a testament to himself, his family, his team around him, because he keeps producing the goods. And he's a great role model for other fighters to how to kind of keep themselves in shape for going forward. Regarding Kiko and Michael, from an Irish standpoint, Kiko sells every day of the week here. Kiko and Michael Conlan on the undercard of Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano in Dublin would be a fantastic addition. With I think it was maybe 20 years ago or 10 years ago that Kiko came over, and the real Bernard Dunn, I'm not sure on the date, in the Point Depot, now the 3 Arena. So bringing it back to Dublin, fighting another Irishman, another hot prospect from Ireland would be great. And then obviously his 2 big nights in Belfast that he's had. So, I think a lot of the Irish, ourselves included, we get on very well with Kiko. He's come over and sparred with Michael. I got on real with his manager, Oscar, and his team, Ricky Powell and co. They're all good people. They're all really, really humble people. And Kiko himself is a real humble man. But I think he's a real fight man, true fight man. Him and Michael in Ireland would be class, would be brilliant. And with the name recognition that Bernard Dunn and Carl Frampton, the previous guys he's been in there with, and he's given really tired nights to, it would be great. It would be great to have it here in Ireland.
I know you briefly touched on Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, Croke Park. It was going to be my next question. It was going to be inevitable, but I take it that is a fight that is a fight and a card you want to be involved in.
I'd say every boxer in the island of Ireland would want to be involved in a fight at Croke Park. It would be, it's once in a lifetime, once in a generation. Muhammad Ali fought there. I think he was the last and the only person to fight there. So it's she's the person to do it. She deserves to go back to Croke Park. That fight against Amanda Serrano deserves to be in Croke Park. If it's anywhere else, it's a letdown, and it's probably a bit of disrespect to her and what she's been able to achieve and what she's done for the sport, both as an amateur and a professional. She needs this big night. She needs to be at home. I would have liked to see her at home more, but coming back to Dublin is something that needs to be done from Katie. And I think Matchroom now going and saying Gary Cully, they're kind of looking at that market more and more, and it's good to see from an Irish point of view and the Irish demographic. If they start to invest in Irish boxing and Irish fighters get the benefit off the back of this, and that's what you want to see.
In your opinion, do you obviously it won't be next, in my opinion, because obviously it does need to be in the summer with it being at Croke Park. But do you think that does happen, Croke Park?
I don't know. I'm always skeptical. Listen, when promoter talks, I I don't believe a large majority of it. Now that I'm a promoter myself as well. um, yeah, I don't. I think it does. I think it has to happen from like a logical point of view. It has to happen from a fan's point of view. It has to happen from an Irish point of view. It has to happen, but from a promoter's point of view, does it make sense? I don't know. I don't know the whole ins and outs of it. A lot of shipping having to come across to Dublin, a lot of tickets having to be sold. I would assume that the cost for the venue would be astronomical. The cost of everything in Dublin alone, hotels and etc., is big. So it is expensive. It would be the fight alone. Serrano and Katie Taylor will cost a lot of money. So yeah, there is a lot of outgoings there, a lot of overheads from Matchroom's point of view. I don't think, as you said, it doesn't happen next. I think Serrano most likely I read is going to fight. I probably read it on your thing because you usually get things out before everyone else. Your Twitter that Serrano is going to fight or unify the division at 126 now, and then did I see it was going to happen in December, and then it'll probably not happen till summertime. But I think it fits. I do think it's doable. I think Croke Park most likely will be wanting it to happen. They'll probably bend over backwards to make it happen, but it's just a cost thing, isn't it? The collection with the All Irelands as well, the championship that goes on there, hurling and football will be played most weeks during the summer, so it's just avoiding a date there.
That's perfect. Obviously, I'm going to touch on obviously Conlan Boxing. Obviously, it does tie in obviously with being if you were to be involved in that. What are your aims for Conlan Boxing, and how many shows would you like to do a year, or is there a target for yourself?
Well, we're still small. We're still small at the minute. I think we're well. Now I think I know we've got 4 or 5 dates with ESPN to build the fighters here, and that's not including the dates with Michael. Obviously, we've been looking. We've done 2 now this year with Michael. We've done the field of the year before as well with Michael, and that was our first one. And then we done the Ulster Halls after that with Lewis Crocker. So we're looking at 4 fights next year, 4 shows next year, and then probably 1, maybe 2 with Michael, so 6 in total. We've looked at Galway potentially as a place to go, as well as Belfast. Galway on the west coast, they have great fighters over there. I think through the amateur system coming through now, it seems to be the hotbed of the prospects coming through on an amateur standpoint, with Olympic Galway and clubs like that out there. But Kieran Malloy, I think, could be a superstar down there. I've seen the progression of him from the amateurs to the pros, and I get excited every time he steps in the ring. I really do believe he's a superstar. Angel Fernandez sings his praises. Everyone in the gym, Fraser Clark, Richard Reactor, they all couldn't speak highly enough of this kid. So going to Galway and Belfast would be our targets for next year, definitely. 4 or 5, potentially 6 shows.
That would be huge. And with regard to that, would there be a UK broadcaster? I know the Conlan fight was on Fight TV last time out. Is there any talks for a UK broadcaster at all?
There is. It's a long-term strategic plan. We are, as I said, we're very slow. We're really not. If we didn't have Michael, we would be building very, very slowly. We're working together now with TG Cahir on doing shows as well, which is the national broadcaster in Ireland. We had Paddy McCrory in October, our last show there, and we should announce something going forward with them. Hopefully, get it over the line pretty soon, and then we can get cracking on with that. The UK broadcaster, the market is, everyone's already there, aren't they? It doesn't seem to be open. There is just exclusive deals around all the houses, so it's very tough at the minute, and we're just trying to get by with ESPN and build something now with the Irish market.
That's perfect. And just as my final question, really, obviously the Olympics has had a massive part of obviously your family with Michael and obviously yourself, but it has come out that boxing is going to be at risk of being excluded from actually the 2028 Olympic Games that is set to take place in Los Angeles. I just want to get your thoughts on that, if that's all okay.
Scary, man, scary. I think every boxer's dream should be to become Olympic champion or to be an Olympian. First and foremost, that should be your dream. I still believe that it's the purest form of boxing. It's the most, I think it's the pinnacle of the sport in one sense, because when you get to become an Olympian, you are, there is few and far between people who can say that they're Olympian. Belfast has been graced with a fair amount of them now, I think 7. But if boxing is not included, it's scary for the future, because fighters need a pathway to become world champions as a professional. And to do that, you need to have a goal as an amateur, and the goal of the amateur should always be to be an Olympian, be an Olympic champion, to be an Olympian. I'm hopeful that it doesn't come that way, and some kind of be rectified before, because again, I think the Olympics without boxing is a big loss. Boxing is one of the first, if not the first, sport to be added to it. So it would be a massive loss for the Olympics if boxing was included.
Why do you believe they've come to that decision? Obviously, it's been on numerous articles, and I know there are certain professional fighters who do want to go back, because obviously you can go backwards to the Olympics. Obviously, why do you believe that how they've come to that conclusion?
Listen, I think it's how the sport is being governed these days. It doesn't seem to be transparent. In 2016, the exposure of Dr. Wu and how he run AIBA, it was global. With what Megal done as well in Rio was massive, and turned him into a star. But also, it exposed the corruption that was deep in amateur boxing, and how far it went back, and it took that good feel nature of the Olympics, the shine of it, down. So they had to kind of change governance and try to clean their house. And I don't think they've done that to an extent. I think they're still trying to hold on to whatever power they had the previous regime, maybe. And it's just a different face different name with the same face.
Hopefully, obviously that can stay in the Olympics, because I do feel like it would be a huge miss. It was not so long ago at the Commonwealth Games. It's our first. Me and my brother went to the Commonwealth Games, and honestly, it's completely different. And like you said, it's every fighter should actually aspire to go through that route, like and want to win Olympic gold medals. So hopefully it can stay in, and we do hope.
It's the best. It's the best fighting the best. It's the purest form of the sport. If you're a world champion as an amateur, you're genuinely the world champion. You're the best in the world. There's no one better on you. You're world number one. If you're world champion as a pro, there's various different ways you became world champion, and there's 5 other guys who call themselves world champion same weight. And it's not because genuinely you're the best. It's because you have a good team around you, and you do have talent, yes, but there is other factors at play. But in amateur boxing, it is the purest form. The Olympic Games is always what you should set out to be. As you said, Commonwealth Games is like the baby brother of the Olympic Games, and that feel when you're in the village and when you're going to the event, and how everyone is received, and like even in the crowd, how everyone is respected and responded and applauded, and that's kind of what it's a great feeling. I was lucky enough to go to 2 Olympics to watch my brother and my father as the coach, and he then went to Tokyo without no crowd. I would have loved to go to Tokyo, and that's kind of it's ingrained in our family. It's something that we were always set out to do. My first boxing tape to watch was the 1982 Olympics, to watch Michael Carruth and Wayne McCulloch and Paul Griffin and the Irish guys then, and what a games that was.
That's perfect. That's all for myself today, and I will thank you for Jamie for talking to International Boxing East. I really appreciate that.
Cheers, Ashley. Appreciate having me on.
Thank you.